Now we're going to put the gusset in. I've marked at the top the 2 snips for it. I'm also going to mark the center here on top of it, my inner leg, and then I'm just going to fold this in half as well. Make sure that I know where it's going to go. There you go. So I know which side goes to the top here, and now I can just pin it on. So swivel it round, and now I'm just going to move it round here to the front, and you want to stop a little bit before you get to the edge, so about 0.7 or 0.6, 0.5 centimeters, because when we put the binding on, if it goes all the way to the edge, you end up with too much fabric in the binding, so you don't want to do that. So make sure that you stop before, like I do here. No more though than that 0.7, because otherwise you might not catch that, because there's going to be like this little gap. And I'm just moving it round so it fits in nicely. There we go. It's a little bit like putting in a sleeve, where you have to hold it in a little bit. I don't think you need to do anything like on a sleeve, like put a thread in and pull it slightly. Of course you could do that, but to be honest, just stretch it a bit, and then when we've done it all, we're kind of steaming it back in, and then it'll be fine. So if you need to, you can stretch it a little bit, but it should fit in there quite nicely. That's the beauty of jersey, isn't it, or knit fabrics, that you can just do that and it really helps. This is 100% cotton, so quite nice to work with, but because they have this this fabric kind of like is woven with very thick yarn, that means that when you wash it, it will shrink. So I'm going to sew all the way around that now very carefully and do my 1 centimeter seam allowance or foot width, whichever you prefer. It doesn't really make a lot of difference. And just coming back to why it shrinks, it's because it's kind of mimicking interlock, which is a thicker jersey, which is like kind of it looks the same from both sides. It's when it's knitted, it just goes from one side to the other, so it's like literally interlocks. That's why it's called interlock, and that doesn't really shrink, and it's really nice and firm. It won't stretch as much either, but it's really good for this sort of children's wear. And so this is mimicking that on a cheaper way, but of course when you don't have this really dense knit, it will shrink. That's just how it goes. The cotton does shrink, and just gotta have to live with it. So now I've sewn it all the way around. I need to overlock this, and I'm always going to overlock off a little bit. I don't want it to be like a centimeter. I'm going closer to the edge. And on my foot on the overlocker, it actually has a marking which tells me where I need to line up with the seam. And I've done that now. Now I need to give it a really good press. So don't skip any steps. Go over to that ironing board and really steam that. It is so important. There we go. Lovely. I'll do it from the other side as well. Ironing is a terribly important part of your sewing, and people sometimes leave it to the end. You won't get the results if you do that. You want to really make sure that you do it all the time. There we go. And when I fold this up now, it should fit exactly on the front piece as well when you put that on. That's it. We can now go on to doing the facing